Silence! I am placing you under arrest.
What is the charge?
Not being racist.
We'll see about that, hunky!
Sponsored by Surfshark. See us at MomoCon 2022 this May. More info pinned on my Twitter.
I'll see your mama in 2022.
You know which minority I hate the most? The vocal minority. When it comes to edgy adult cartoons from years ago, people will say you can't make this nowadays. Really, you could, because South Park and Robot Chicken have endless reruns while Netflix will crap out some horrid show that somehow gets far too many seasons. I challenge that statement with a show that for reals, no way could you make this now. From 2005, it's Adult Swim's Minoriteam.
Minoriteam! Fighting for all people of color except white people.
What the hell?
Unless they're Jewish.
This was the original Hatalia. Yes, this was a real show that aired on TV about a team of superheroes themed around their racial stereotypes. You can tell this is a real Adult Swim show because Danger Doom sampled it for a song, the track Skit 2. Minoriteam was televised and uploaded to Adult Swim's website, though after the increasing racial tensions of the 2020s brought, this whole series and specific episodes of other AS shows were pulled from TV and online. The channel wants you to forget this show existed, but I won't let them. Now, here's the crazy part. Adult Swim originally loved the idea of Minoriteam. Like, they loved it to the point that this series accomplished something insane for TV animation. What was that achievement? Watch the video and find out, stupid. Oh, and thanks to my 2 cameos for voice help. Godzilla Mendoza, who makes great vids on comic book media like the many Spider-Man cartoons, and Chocovania, a Twitch VTuber who I love the art of so much.
Hello.
Cue the intro, and please don't skip it. It's Juice and Jam time. So normally with TV shows, only one episode is made. This is called a pilot. Before the network decides if they want to put in the millions of dollars and years into producing even more episodes, it mostly comes down to that one pilot. For Minoriteam, the 3 creators didn't even have a finished episode on hand when pitching. All they had was some character profiles and a strong vision for how a typical story would play out. Dang, wish I thought of that.
I think because we went in with a strong pitch and how it was going to look and the tone and everything, but they didn't need to see anything after that. They're like, you guys are doing a pilot. And actually from the pilot rough cut, they ordered 20 episodes. That would have never happened at any other network but Adult Swim.
Yeah, 20 whole episodes just from that. It's nearly unheard of to have a cartoon approved without a pilot. To the vice president of Adult Swim's programming, Mike Lazo, this idea was pure genius and totally not a show he will openly regret later in this video. When pitching to the channel, Adult Swim hears the same few ideas over and over. Constantly people will offer cartoons about hell, stoners, kids shows gone wrong, or defunct superheroes. It's too obvious, but this is one of the few times they said, yes, racial superheroes, that right there is gold. Without seeing a finished pilot, the channel ordered 20 episodes of Minoriteam while they never asked to tone it down or censor anything. What the fuck were they thinking?
Why, you crazy boy?
Though, you could chalk this up to a lot of different factors. If you ever want to increase the chances of a show getting greenlit, make it really cheap to make. Look at this animation or lack thereof. The movement was inspired by 60s era Marvel shows that were glorified motion comics. It was the 60s, unless you were Hanna-Barbera, ain't nobody knew how to make animation on a TV schedule. What they should have copied was the theme songs. Do I gotta play the Hulk intro again?
Ain't no monster crowned who is that lovable
And ever loving Hulk. Hulk
Minoriteam also channels its inspiration on comic legend Jack Kirby, co-creator of Thor, Fantastic Four, Captain America, and some other heroes who don't have their own movies. This art direction means everyone's hands are drawn reaching for the screen, a Jack Kirby trademark. Subconsciously, these iconic hands represent Kirby's need to wrangle Stan Lee's neck for taking all the credit.
And I'm banging away at Jack Kirby's wife and choking myself at the same time.
Standing still with the comic influence, it's a great look. Some of these episodes even go under a blacklight color scheme. I don't read books, but it looks like it'd be in that era of comics, so that counts for something, I don't know. I dug up some Kirby issues, and yeah, that influence is there. It's all here, from those tiled mechanical devices to even a whole episode inspired by Norse mythology like Thor. And of course, those galactic bubbles in the sky with a villain inspired by Galactus, except they're named Galactus. Yeah.
The mighty Galactus, destroyer of worlds, is ready to come out of retirement.
Looks good, though. There was one interdimensional location in Minoriteam where they scrapped together real photos. I guess they didn't have the time to draw assets, but I found out it's also another comic tribute, possibly. Looks like Kirby has done similar mixed media art. It reminds me of those AI-generated images that your mind can't process, except it was made by a person. Gorgeous. Oh my god, what is this building? Where is the floor? I don't know what's going on. Thanks to the limited movement, Minoriteam was done entirely in-house at the American production company and not overseas like most cartoons. Which production company? I have no idea, but it's one of them on here. Placing my bets on Monkey Wrangler. Writing, recording voices, and animation only took 2 months per episode under one building. According to my anonymous contact, there actually was no production office in the beginning. The showrunners themselves rented out a space and hired the crew they needed. My contact describes it as punk rock like a garage band. I describe it as a childhood sleepover in a treehouse before the knife fight breaks out.
Excelsior! That means DC's for douchebags. Enough said.
Minoriteam was released around 2005 Adult Swim, where they kinda had some of their cheapest looking shows. Tom Goes to the Mayor and 12 Ounce Mouse, who needs in between frames? They also had Venture Brothers and Boondocks at the time, which looked so much better, so maybe they needed to offset those higher budgets with some lower end stuff. On top of the low price, the three creators did have experience on another series, Crank Yankers on Comedy Central, a puppet show lip-synced to the audio of various prank calls.
Can't nobody beat Jesus.
Even the Hulk?
Nobody can beat Jesus. He kicked the devil's butt, and he gonna come back and kick it again.
What about the Rock?
You know, with your great sense of humor, this is all being recorded. God's got it on a tape recorder. He gonna play it back to you one day on Judgment Day.
Will he make puppets to recreate the call?
You wasting my time.
Among the crew was writer Adam De La Pena, and two artists designing the puppets, Peter Girardi and Todd James. After their work on Yankers ended, the trio came together to develop a series. One idea they came up with was a superhero named Jew-Kano, a Jewish man with the powers of a volcano and Jewishness. But they knew something was missing, so they pumped out a whole team right after. There was El Jefe, a Mexican with a super-powered leaf blower, Fasto, the fastest black man alive, Nonstop, an Indian convenience store owner who's bulletproof. And the leader of the group was Dr. Wang, the paraplegic leader who's a Chinese human calculator.
I'm going to sleep with your wife!
I challenge you, send that Wang clip to whoever your crush is dating.
I'm going to sleep with your wife!
Clearly, these were timeless characters built to last. Together, they formed Minoriteam on Adult Swim. Created by three guys I tried contacting for this video, but they were either nowhere online or simply did not reply. I do not blame them. With this premise of heroes using stereotypes to fight racism, a lot of episodes really wear thin, and so does the Rogues Gallery. You have Racist Frankenstein, a mixture of Frankenstein and the DC villain Solomon Grundy. The whole gag is he hates anything that's the color black.
They hate black faces! Ah, ah, ah! Racist Frankenstein loves space, except the black parts. Racist Frankenstein hate the black. Shut up, Racist Frankenstein.
Racist Frankenstein was based on this guy that I knew. I had to go to these meetings and I never wanted to, and he was like this idiot that would say things at meetings and nobody would tell him to shut up.
Silence, Racist Frankenstein.
He'd be talking about something like sales, and he'd say something like, you know, we should get a boat and we could take our clients on the boat and sell stuff. And I was like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? And so I thought the guy was crazy, and when I was writing the script for the pilot, he wasn't in the first script, and I kind of added him as an afterthought.
As for other gags that may overstay their welcome, here's the black cock. Despite what you're thinking, it's just a chicken suit worn by a white French guy. That's not who was in Paris.
What the hell are black guys doing in France?
Another setback is the amount of dead air during episodes. You feel like something's missing. With the sometimes lack of background or establishing shots, it can be hard to follow, which related, I actually contacted someone special about this, Dana Snyder. No relation. The voice of Master Shake and Minoriteam's leader, Dr. Wang. We met at a crummy local con and he gave me his contact. In regards to this series, Dana told me,
I remember plots being described to me from Adam that were really funny, but by the time we'd record it, there were so many little pieces missing that I feel like the episodes made little to no sense. It was like, where did this great episode go? You trimmed too much that it's full of gaps with too much information missing for it to make any sense. I believe co-creator Pete Girardi always said the title was the best thing about the show, which was thought up by Jimmy Kimmel's brother, Adam, I think his name was?
I think he's referring to Adam Carolla, but I'm too afraid to email him again to clarify.
Though it was very fun to do, and I ended up doing many things with the three creators over the years.
Maybe they were struggling to condense the story into 11 minutes. Still, Dana had a great time working with the possibly inexperienced crew, but beyond the gag of Minoriteam being caricatures, a lot of these episodes feel like they forgot to write in a thing called jokes. Though some of the episodes managed to actually be pretty hilarious. I feel like their strongest asset is when they're just being completely weird. I think there's a lot of good jokes in here that are buried under such a rough, limited production style. Seems like they were figuring out this show as it went along.
But he wasted my entire afternoon. I was supposed to pick up my niece and nephew at 3.
I'm sure they're okay, boss.
You were supposed to pick him up at 3, not 3:15.
Now there's other villains in this hate group. The head of this organization is the White Shadow, an Illuminati-looking triangle trying to keep all minorities down. Boy, this town really went to hell after Dipper and Mabel left. There's also the Corporate Ladder, the Standardized Test, Corporate Loophole, Dirty Cop, or just Cop for short, and the Plant, who plants evidence, a surprisingly socially conscious group of baddies. I feel like anyone else writing this series at the time would make the villains just the typical Klans member or Nazi, but Minoriteam includes personified systematic issues. Back in 2006, co-creator, writer, and voice of the White Shadow, Adam De La Pena had this to say.
There's a way that people think we're over all this race stuff, but we're not. We're still facing huge and tremendous issues, from race issues to the power of large corporations and how all of that relates to personal identity. We still need to see that represented.
Okay, I know the show ain't that deep, but it had a bit more thought put into it than I was expecting, especially at a time where a lot of these issues weren't so well known to others on the outside. But if anyone more knowledgeable on the subject wants to judge the show for themselves, well, Adult Swim wiped away any evidence of this series from their site, but I was able to find all the episodes on archive.org. Now everyone knows what this channel has done.
Suddenly, Minoriteam finds themselves on an emo goth nerd's band page.
So, you're probably wondering, do they make fun of any women, gays, or beyond? Other than a couple of gags, those groups do not have their own reps here. The focus was on race. The Minoriteam did introduce a woman named Jane. She's just a college intern, the smartest and most down-to-earth of the crew, but no one listens to her. She was originally part of the series pitch as the Invisible Girl and was likely to be a regular member, but was reduced to a one-off character.
It's like I'm invisible. They haven't even heard a word I've said.
What you trying to do, blow the place up? You bad.
Also, no, there's no LGBT heroes. I'm guessing the reason for this is by 2005, racism was more unanimously bad, while homophobia and stuff was far more divisive. It's like they wanted to tell offensive jokes based on what people should know is offensive, rather than maybe instigate more hate for a specific group. At least that's my logic when I say edgy stuff. You can make fun of everyone, but not everyone has the same amount of respect or rights to fall back on. Now, we'll talk more systematic fun after these messages.
Tenemos a Jesús.
Idiot! Just because he's named Jesus don't mean he's Mexican!
Jane.
Oh, John. Oh, John!
It's hot lead.
Oh, Jane.
Are you tired of this happening, especially around the holidays? Well, you need Surfshark VPN. Yes, sir, the sponsor of tonight's video. What's a VPN? It's great. It changes your internet region and protects your privacy. You got Netflix, just switch regions and bam, you can see what other countries have on their Netflix. It's that easy. How about something to keep you safe, especially on public Wi-Fi? Nothing can stop you. Use the code RebelTaxi to get 83% off with 3 extra months. Don't like that? You got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Oh, what? You got an incognito window on your browser? Wow, that's completely useless. Surfshark VPN, it's got clean web. This thing will block malicious ads, trackers, and malware. Don't trust an internet provider, trust Surfshark VPN. Use the code RebelTaxi to get 83% off with 3 extra months. You got a 30-day money-back guarantee. VPN.
It's 1:20 somewhere in the world. Time to get up, you lazy bastard.
As I was editing this video, I realized Dana Snyder's voice for Dr. Wang made for some of the funniest lines in the series. When asked how Dana got on board, he replied,
Haven't thought of this show in a long time, but was very excited about the role as I got it from meeting Adam De La Pena at a cocktail party.
Pena?
And he called me into lunch, then I got the gig, which I thought, that's how LA works. I gotta start going to more cocktail parties. I got an audition once from a very well-known, incredible casting director, who is a black woman, based on my work as Dr. Wang. Sitting in her office surrounded by like 12 other guys who are all Japanese, and her coming in saying, you do Asian accents so well. I mean, can you imagine how that wouldn't happen today? I think back and I was the only one not in the ethnicity of the character they were playing. I think Adam was a bit obsessed with Aqua Teen, so he wanted me to do it.
Well, those Japanese guys like the show, but what about the most oppressed race of them all, Italians, the Olive Garden of people? Well, Minoriteam has you covered, because you're actually the villains, or at least this one mobster is a villain and happens to be Italian. Sorry you had to find out this way.
No!
As for an extra layer of commentary, these heroes have their non-stereotypical secret identity. When they're not these offensive supers out in public for everyone to see, they're just regular citizens with traits either opposite or unrelated to their super form. Like a skater Indian or rich Mexican. Since they're lying low, maybe the message was that the world ignores them when they're not conforming to those tropes. To repeat myself, it's not that deep, but they were trying something. There's hints at satire sometimes. You get the basic airport TSA agents will search anyone brown, while other episodes will dig a little deeper, commentating on stuff like the court system. Minoriteam will call out how biased an all-white jury can be towards people of color put on trial. Not a topic typically covered in adult animation. There's a bit more to this show than, Jewish people like money and get a, oh god, I can't show that, a money boner.
You don't have pockets, fool, but you do have a money boner. That's weird, baby.
Uh-oh, hot dog!
So in 2005, when Minoriteam premiered, no one complained back then. Well, actually, yeah, they did. Several artists for hire turned down working on the show, and you can still find some negative articles bashing Adult Swim, though maybe those people were just the vocal minority. Well, if you really want to see what people were thinking at the time, you just gotta check out the internet forums.
You've got mail.
Off to 2005 NeoGAF we go!
Welcome.
So it's finally happened. They've gone off the deep end.
Cartoon Network ended when they stopped airing classic Looney Tunes. Their current crop is almost Nickelodeon abysmal.
Yet another stupid animated series. I, Diablos, will never watch more than 15 minutes.
Okay, that's fair. The episodes are only 11 minutes.
Boondocks also looks terrible.
$400,000 budget per Boondocks episode? That's really sad, because IMO, 90% of the shows on TV are terrible.
I wish you socialists would stop assuming that all conservatives are rednecks from the South. There is not one good comedy on TV that isn't written by liberals.
I would rather have a centralized government-owned industry rather than an industry-owned government thanks to Republicans.
Minoriteam was hilarious. Much funnier than Boondocks.
Bitch.
It's so nice to see cartoon discourse hasn't changed one bit. Anyway, let's wrap this video up.
Next time I check, we are superheroes. How about we use our superhero power to defeat White Shadow?
While half of the episodes I enjoyed, the other half of Minoriteam was pretty unrefined. Maybe if they had that pilot made, they could have better planned out what worked within the show. So many jokes are total duds, while Adult Swim has openly regretted the series through its channel bumpers. Oh, and in a 2012 issue of Juxtapose magazine, VP of Programming Mike Lazo, who thought this was a fantastic idea for a show without seeing a pilot, had this to say.
Minority superheroes fight racist villains. That logline is all we really needed to hear to convince us to spend millions. 20 episodes were ordered directly out of the pitch, and I've kept the pitch board in my office to remind me. Who the hell would order 20 episodes without a pilot?
Ow, that is the second worst pitch he sat through. And so, Minoriteam lasted only one season while Mike Lazo never ordered another 20 episodes without seeing the pilot again. Until he made the same mistake 1 year later for Assy McGee, as he confessed to on the same page. Whoops! As for Minoriteam's crew, co-creator Adam De La Pena went on to create a far better series for G4 titled Code Monkeys. I should have reviewed that instead. Did G4 hire me yet?
That man's a piece of you cheap Zorro knockoff! You Bob Kane, you unoriginal prick!
As for Peter Jardy, he became a production manager for many of the DC animated films. Oh, funny tangent about that, he's credited as a title designer on shows like Teen Titans. This means he and a few others helped create the opening intro and/or logo, which, looking at the font, he may have done the same when he worked on Crank Yankers? Possibly? It's not like he reused some of the lettering and skewed it a bit. Did he? Anyway, as for the third Minoriteam co-creator, well, he doesn't have a Wikipedia page, so we can assume he's either dead or wishes he was. R.I.P. Now is the perfect time to bring back Minoriteam but woke.
Well, see you later, Chinky.
Okay, I'm gonna catch you on the flip side, you racist devil son of a bitch.
I won this time, Minoriteam.
Don't give up. Challenge again.
Minoriteam! Dr. Wang, Jucano, El Jefe, Nonstop, and Pasto. Dedicated to defeating the White Shadow and his evil minions.
With Minoriteam gone, the sky is the limit. Who is with me?
I'm going to sleep with your wife!
That's what she said.
I don't get it.
She did. Quickly close the door, I want to go out on that one.
Minoriteam! Sundays at midnight on Adult Swim.
Yeah!